In this video, we will run the assisted setup for Creditsafe Connect inside Business Central. And if you looked at my previous video where we installed the app, this is what you will be prompted with after the installation is complete. You will get an answer with, do you want to run the initial setup? And the initial setup is actually the assisted setup. But otherwise, you'll find the assisted setup here under assisted setup. And you will find, I think it's at the bottom here. Yeah, Creditsafe Connect. And well, I have run it before in this environment, so I get this question. So this is how it looks like. So regardless if you come from the installation or if you start it manually, this is where you start the assisted setup. So you can choose a demo mode. Then you won't be prompted any login credentials towards the Creditsafe APIs, but you will be limited to 5 queries. So it's a very limited demo mode. But in this case, I actually have usernames and password that I had got from Creditsafe, so I can use the app in Business Central. So I click on Next. And these are the 3 data sources we can use. A data source is an API which we can query for data. And since my demo company in Business Central my company is in Sweden, the suggestion is to activate the Swedish data source and the Global Connect. In this scenario, since I have a Swedish company, all the data for Swedish companies and also persons will be downloaded from the Swedish API. But if your company is, say, in like Norway or some other country, you will use the Global Connect also for Swedish companies because you get Swedish data in the Global Connect also. But the reason for us to do this is that, well, if your company is in Sweden, you will get more functionality for the Swedish for Sweden from the Swedish API. Most of all, you can get persons. You can get access to sole traders through that API. And then we have the Norwegian API for consumers and sole traders. Norwegian companies is in the Global Connect API. So there are a couple of different sources for data, but once we bring data into Business Central, it is stored in the same manner. So let's go ahead with the Swedish data source and Global Connect and click Next. So the next page will be the configuration of the Swedish data source. So you can see here, set up the Swedish data source. I need a username. This is a username that I had got from Creditsafe when I signed the agreement. And I have password. This is the password that I chose myself when I clicked on the link in the email that I got from Creditsafe to activate my account. And then a key feature of this product is that we can do credit checks. And by default, the credit check of companies is enabled. And for the Swedish data source, you can choose if you want to perform credit check on the report data that is downloaded together with name, addresses, ranking, and all that kind of data that we download, or if you want to use an online query. The easiest way is to go with the report data, and the assisted setup will create a very simple, like a credit template, we call it, which will only validate companies based on the rating index. If you click here, you will get some support. What is a 40, what is a 60, and so forth. But you can also choose to use an online query. And then you get a field here for the online template name. And you can read the description here, but if you choose this way, you need to contact Creditsafe and ask Creditsafe to define a template with rules, and you will get a code for that. It will be like, well, my company is called GoProve, and I have a template, Creditsafe, and this is the code for my template. So you have an option here if you want to use an online query where Business Central to do a credit check only sends the registration number together with the template name, or if Business Central should download the credit report and look at the content of the report. And using the report data is easier to get started. It's also easier to change and modify the criteria because you do it inside Business Central. However, using an online query, you will get a little bit more functionality in your credit checks. So we can also enable credit check of individuals, persons. Same here. You can use the online credit template, or you can use report data. But I will only use credit checks for companies in my setup. So that was probably a lot of information, but well, we often get questions about how do we do credit checks, and these are our two options that we have. Okay, I click next. The assisted setup will validate, will do a web service request to Creditsafe to validate the username and password. So if you can go to the next step, you will know that the username and password is correct. So then I have my email here. That's my username, and I have a password. Let's copy that and paste. So I will create a credit template for the credit check. And when it comes to the global data source, the global Connect data source, we only have the option to use the report data that we download. The assisted setup will create a simple rule based on ranking, the A, B, C, D, E, because that's available for all countries. When we looked at the Swedish data source, we were talking about indexes, and indexes they exist for the companies where Creditsafe has their own data, but the ranking A, B, C, D, E is available also for countries where Creditsafe buy external data. So this is a good start, except medium risk or lower, or higher in ABC scale. The default is to use portfolios. That means that we will create a monitoring portfolio for each country where Creditsafe supports monitoring. And all the companies that we decide to create as monitoring objects in Business Central will be automatically put into portfolios in Creditsafe. That means that when we do scheduled updates, usually on a daily basis, we don't always download data. We ask portfolios for changes, and only when there has been a change in a company, we will download new data and you do a new credit check. Okay, so I click next. My username and password will be validated, so hopefully we can go to the next step. Yes. And the Norwegian data source, I didn't enable that on the first page, so we got here into the setup of the automatic updates. So if you choose to create a schedule, it will be a very simple schedule. It will take care of all your companies, and it will run daily. It will start tomorrow, 6 a.m. and ask portfolios for changes every day. So if a change occurs in the Creditsafe databases today, you will get updated tomorrow. So you will have fresh data in Business Central. These schedules, we will, in the different separate video, we will take a look at how you can configure them and with criteria and so forth. Click next, and I can select what language I want to have on the data that we download from Creditsafe. Not the GUI in Business Central. That's defined by Business Central. But this is about the data that the data reports that we download. Do I want to have English or Swedish, or these are the languages we support? So let's settle for English now and click next and open the manual setup list after the assisted setup. So the assisted setup will give you a base configuration of Creditsafe Connect. It will be functional, but you will probably want to do some settings that are a little bit more specific for how you work in your company. So we click finish here. So now we got the manual setup. So I won't go into these in this video because we have separate videos on each topic. I just want to do some kind of a functional check just to prove that we actually can communicate with Creditsafe now. So let's search in Creditsafe. Let's search for a company. Maybe put in a registration number. Voila, we got one single hit since I put in a registration number. Or if I just put in some random name, construction in Norway and maybe Oslo. Let's see how many. Okay, so the red ones we should stay away from because that is the like a non-active company, but here we got other companies also. So things are actually working. Great, thank you for watching, and welcome to all the other videos that we have about each different separate topic in the setup and usage.